Good morning to all. On behalf of AUDISANKARA College of Engineering and Technology Autonomous, I welcome you all for today's webinar on interdisciplinary research and its importance. So, today, Dr. K. Venkatesh, Adjunct Professor IITB India, is going to deliver a talk on interdisciplinary research and its importance. Now, I would like to invite Srimati Shobharani Madam to introduce our today's speaker.
Good morning, one and all. I feel very much privileged to introduce Dr. K. Venkatesh Garu. Good morning, sir. Dr. K. Venkatesh has obtained MSc, MPhil and PhD from Madurai Kamaraj University, Manon Maniam Sundaran University and Alagappa University, and currently associated with IITB as an adjunct professor and serving as a professor at Myanmar Institute of Information and Technology on deputation. He has served as Registrar, Dean Research, Principal, Professor and HOD, and also served in the software industry as CTO and Head HR. He has 3 decades of teaching experience. His research areas of interest are applicable mathematics, theoretical computer science, and banking and finance. Dr. Venkatesh has published papers in the areas of optimization, finance, banking, benchmarking, computer architecture, LNCS, mathematics, voltage engineering, high voltage engineering. He has co-authored a book, Discrete Mathematics, published by Vikas Publishing House. He is a member of System Society of India, Ramanujan Mathematical Society, Indian Statistical Institute, Karnataka, Association of Constraint Programming, United States, Academy of Discrete Mathematics and Applications, Founder Secretary. We are very much delighted to have you in this session, sir. I hope every participant will be enriched through this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you able to hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning to all. First, I thank the organizer, AUDISANKARA College of Engineering and Technology, GUDUR, for giving an opportunity to share my interest area. I started this journey in a different manner because of I associated with variety of institutes. Wherever I go, my thought is my research should be useful to my organization as well as my students. Hence, I did doing research in various disciplines. When I associated with business school, that is a place I started learning computer science as well as finance. So that's how I researched into variety of domain. So even though I did mathematics, my course, my area of research is everywhere now. All God's grace and my association with my co-authors and others. So the IDR, interdisciplinary research, is one of the important areas in our country. It had to take a right direction, right shape. So when you talk about interdisciplinary research, most of us will think, I may collaborate with somebody else, some other discipline, I'll produce a paper, I'll go out of that. Is it interdisciplinary research or something else? So most often we ourselves not define interdisciplinary research in a proper manner. The research itself in a different domain one has to look into it, not only academic purpose. Of course it is needed, that is the way people will get promoted, increment, everything is based on that. However, my research problem is going to address some societal need, is there is going to be useful to my society where I am living. If you start thinking in this direction, definitely all of us can do a good job. So with this small note, I'll share my screen, and then we'll go with the PPT presentation. In between, if you have any questions, please type on the chat window. Uh, we can answer that queries also. If necessary, I'll answer in between. Otherwise, end of the session, it can be addressed. Are you able to see the slides now?
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay, good. So the title is known to you. So the outlines are very 4 points I put, certain fundamental questions. Whenever I ask a question, it's my duty to define what I meant, what the academic world looking at is. The definition is universally accepted. So all those things I'll be talking about. Then some success stories, probably all of us know there are success stories of interdisciplinary research. Then what is need of the hour with respect to interdisciplinary research. So then I present one small case study, and at the end of the session, I'll be leaving you one more case study. You have to decide whether you can take it up or not. So that's how I decided this talk. So what is interdisciplinary research? So the first question is it a multidisciplinary, or it is a cross-disciplinary, or it is a transdisciplinary? So what is multidisciplinary? What is cross-disciplinary? Looks everything similar. Okay, when 3 or 4 subjects or more than 2 subjects put together, can we call it as multidisciplinary? Then what is cross-disciplinary? There also we are going to combine more than one discipline. Can we say it is all one and the same? The answer is not. The transdisciplinary is the supreme of all. It is the unified knowledge is called as transdisciplinary. Anything I can borrow from any field and I can work upon, develop a new concept or a new branch of study is possible. The classical example is 5 years ago, people may not talk about nanotechnology as a big branch. Today, most of the engineering colleges offering a branch in nanotechnology. Look at that. Is it not an outcome of IDR? Yes, it's an outcome of IDR. Similarly, a variety of fields are coming out based upon the IDR. So that is what important to understand this 3. So, excuse me. So in general, multidisciplinary, what we do, we draw whatever required concepts and models and theories from more than 2 disciplines, work upon that, then we disappear from the part. So we part after the research work. Whereas the interdisciplinary, we have to integrate. The outcome may be a sustainable one, and further we develop more and more in the same direction. That is the major difference between interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. Similarly, cross-disciplinary, most of the time what we do, whenever we do some kind of data is involved, we take a help of a statistical person or some kind of computer science people who are in the data mining or data analytics. We jointly do some work. After that work, we acknowledge each other, but not further maybe working on the same discipline or same group may not work. That is what cross-disciplinary. It just for a purpose we meet. After that, we won't talk about that. So that is very important one has to understand. So now, our concept is interdisciplinary. What is interdisciplinary? We have to solve a problem. The problem may be complex or even maybe a small problem, but we cannot solve with single discipline. So such problems are called as interdisciplinary problem. To answer that question, we need persons with experience in different disciplines joined together work and all this. This is the definition borrowed from Klein and Newell in 1998. Earlier to that, not much definitions are available, a couple of definitions there, not very precise thing. So National Academy of United States given one more definition. IDR is a mode of research by a team of persons or individuals or community of scholars. They will do research with that, whatever the things are required. As we know, some information, some techniques, whatever it is required to solve the problem. And when we are solving the problem, from which discipline we are going to do that? The specialized knowledge is required to solve the problem. And as rightly said, the solution or the problem cannot be solved with one single subject. So it is beyond scope of one particular discipline. Such problems are called as interdisciplinary research. Nice books are available on interdisciplinary research. One can read just like a novel, not the regular mode. When we are free, you can spend some time upon that. So then you will understand how it is evolved as a discipline today. In US and Canada, there are a lot of funding agencies are available to fund for IDR problems. Priority has been given to IDR because it is going to resolve some of the issues in the society. So now, when I say this kind of things, are we looking at societal problem as major challenge and then we solve this? So that may be a temporary one. There are certain things like, if you look at that Srinivasan Ramanujan's work, today we talk about much about that because of the cryptography and other things. So he never looked at the application or societal problem. So that also required, but at least certain percentage we can look at today's problem and we have to work upon that. Otherwise, it cannot gel. After 10 years or 20 years later, every time you have to solve new problems. Some problems are theoretical work is required, which will be used. The best example from other field is called as Galois field. Entire computer sciences, it is Galois field of order 2 because 0 and 1 we are going to use. So that is also found 100 years ago. So this is the way certain discipline has been evolved. That application without knowing people started working on. Then later we are able to find application. So what are the key components of this? As we know that it's a complex problem, it cannot be solved with single subject. So we need. So when you are having 2 or 3 people or 3 discipline persons together, there is a lot of issues will arise. One is how far we are acknowledging the domain expertise. So that respect is supposed to be given. And when you do that respect does not mean that you say I am superior, my subject is superior. Normally we do in these places, especially when you go for everything is computational problems. Therefore, we talk about computer sciences dominating the world. Therefore, computer science is top, which is not true. If you look at that, computer science problem is domain expertise is required. You are able to help assist them in a better way. They can do their jobs more cohesive way. That's what the help of computer science we are able to do that. So in the company, in the industry side, they are called as functional expert. So our job is to translate the functional experts language to computer language, then develop a system which helps. So you have to respect. When you want to say this way, you're supposed to have what is the basics of from each domain. What is the guiding questions do you have? What is the basic concept? What are the theory and methods are available to solve that? So when you solve the problem, you have to evaluate the specialized research. Yes, how much portion it has been contributed for my science or my discipline. That is what very important. Interdisciplinary, evaluate the results of specialized research. So as I said, they talk about multiple theories and concepts, whichever is required, they are do it. When you do this way, there are certain places we cannot solve, we cannot take the concepts and theories whichever built in a particular discipline to solve our problem. That's a weakness, limitation. How to overcome this limitation? If I relax certain parameters, will I get the expected result? Yes, it is permitted. That weakness should be identified and should be quoted. Therefore, the new discipline, you might have come across many places, especially in optimization techniques. Sometimes we relax the convexity part to obtain a solution. So all those things are practiced, but it should be captured and should be available for further studies. That is one. And I said everyone's supposed to appreciate the involvement as well as their domain expertise. That is important. These are the key components. We have little more. See, after doing this, this will create a new knowledge, new domain, lot of things. So today, if you look at that, what is data analytics? People talk about only data from one domain, any domain. If you look at that, smart grids and big data analytics, fault analysis using data mining, health diagnosis using data analytics. So it is another branch. It is coming out data analytics. Give me any domain, I can talk about that with data analytics. That's how people started thinking of. So it's created a new branch, new system, new discipline. So we need many things. So that's how one has to look at. So the other side, if you look at that, there are certain courses called as Certified Quantitative Financial Professional from UK body. Mumbai got one society chapter for that particular society. Beautiful course. You're supposed to study finance, 6 courses on Python programming, and another 6 applications of this too. So this is how the new branch has started, but no university is offering such courses in our place. So this is supposed to be taken up in a better way, and we can talk about that. So computational part is also very important. So this is known to us, am I right? So all the subjects are known to us. Are they interacting to each other? Yes, some extent. I know mathematics, so I can do physics. I know physics, therefore I can do mathematics. So I know biology, therefore can I do some mathematics part? If you look at biology, biology in terms of botany and zoology, one particular thing is common in both subjects. One is study of plants, another one is study of animals, but there is something called as taxonomy. How the taxonomy has come, if you look at taxonomy, what we are doing it, especially the botany, we create some families based on some floral formula. We say this particular plant belongs to Fabaceae family, Malvaceae family, a variety of families. We talk about that. The same way in zoology also. Anyone can relate this to some of the data mining or data analytics techniques? I'm just asking a question. Anyone knows the answer? Please put on the chat window. Any answers, Professor Prasad?
No answers.
Okay, this what we, if I say the word, everyone say, yes, we know this part. This is nothing but segmentation. So today we call segmentation. What is segmentation? Identifying these similar things, grouping them together. That's what we did in taxonomy. This is what you should understand. Whenever you read any subject or any discipline, you should be able to relate. Have I not studied these things? So I can say a classical example when bioinformatics started somewhere in much earlier days. I came to know in 95 or 96 bioinformatics. I was just listening some of the professors talk. They were talking about RGB, this and all. And I said, I can do this with two-way automata. Then they said, yes, it is possible. So valid genome sequences, we can identify with two-way automata. That's how I looked at the subject. So when you are involved with the subject, you are able to analyze. So obviously it is possible. Wherever you hear something or see something, is it related to my subject? This question will be raised automatically by our brains. So that is a place you can look further. You will get develop interest toward that science. Then you can create a good job. So that is possible. Say the same way mathematics people know a little bit of economics, or from economics to mathematics is possible. If you look at that, the very foundation of mathematics functions, there is in economics something called as Douglas model. It is just a function. How it is worked on that, it's a multiplicative model. Then how to convert to as a linear additive model is just by taking logarithm. So very basic concept of mathematics. When you go to application side, you can look at that. So that is ECT is not, it is etc. There is a typographic error. And psychology also we use a lot of things. There is a triangle called as, some with name, 3 triangles are called as. So that is also again from mathematics. When the psychology professor could not solve, there was a professor by name, if I'm not, Harare. Yeah, he was sitting in the next room. He said, I can solve this problem, and he solved, given to them. So it all happened. You can see, I gave you the links where this kind of stories happen. and how far truth in it, you can verify it also. So this is what I said. Naturally, mathematics has advantage. It penetrate into many subjects. So this way we look at that. So this all the subjects are known to us. So this is the way we look at social science, biology, everything is that. Environmental engineering is ecology, all those things once again. So in the real world, by looking at that, therefore, if you know mathematics, can you solve any real world problem? Answer, not necessarily. Majority, yes. Any interdisciplinary research or when you do simulation, what is the foundation of simulation? Create a mathematical model, then evaluate all those things. So obviously, one has to think over it. Is it true? Always, there are certain places which is not possible. Then other part of this, the known subject is philosophy is the other one. So which dominates anything and everything. So how it is going to dominate, you look at that way. There is a, if you're, there are courses offered by many universities, MA in philosophy, PhD in philosophy. They study one course, total of logic. The logic, most of us, the electronics or whoever it is, might have studied, called as proportional logic, predicate logic. Entire thing is derived. If you look at the entire world, anything is only two form of derivations only, either induction or deduction, using that only. If you look at still beyond that, this is the base for AI also. So obviously, logic, everything, mathematics, everything merges together in order to solve the problems. So this is once again the same set of same slides, same subjects known to us. This is the thing I said. Philosophy and mathematics has a small thread in between them. If you know mathematics, easily you can look at philosophy. If you know philosophy, you can come back to mathematics and mathematics to other discipline, which is possible. Therefore, can we say if you know philosophy, therefore you are good at anything? So answer is still vague only. It is not. So, but after some time, that is 3 decades ago, everything we started, the E stands for electronic form. Then it is said computational psychology, computational biology, computational chemistry, anything, everything in terms of computer science. Therefore, computer science is the one, so which is also not true. But more precisely, the cognitive science, order of the day is cognitive science. Therefore, the cognitive science takes a central role. From cognitive science, I can go to linguistics to computing, biology, everything, psychology and everything. Here I have to quote about one great person called as Noam Chomsky, N-A-O-M-C-H-O-M-S-K-Y. He has written more than 11 books. He is a great person in terms of language. So how the language and computer science are having a relationship. You might heard about computational linguistics. So now any language, we are able to feed into system, the system analyze and give certain kind of results. So how it is possible? So that is the place we have to talk about much machine translation. The machine translation again depends on certain foundation courses. One has to look at that way. That formal languages, similarly natural language processing, those who are into natural language processing, they know what is computational linguistics. Then they can analyze, is it true, which language is better? The Chomsky, he declared Sanskrit is the best one for language processing, not for computer programming languages, language processing. And because when he given a particular scenario in English, 32 ambiguous places identified by the system unable to identify it, to resolve it took long time. So we have variety of forms. I'm not going to talk about the forms of formal languages and other things. When the same scenario is interpreted in translated into Sanskrit, when fed into the system, it reduced to 3. So that's how he declared this is what important. Computer, for computer you want to do something, Sanskrit is better. And then also because the credit goes to the Panem grammar. The Panem grammar is one very powerful, which is able to differentiate from any other languages. So one has to read this kind of books also to get some interest. And Andhra Pradesh is concerned, most of you are familiar with Sanskrit at the schooling also available. So you might have studied that kind of things. You can relate why it is. Ask that question why. When you talk about interdisciplinary, all 5 W's are important. Why, when, who, whom, where. All these 5 are important. Then we can do a good job over there. So as I said, that is a unidirectional I put now, but the interdisciplinary research is supposed to be bidirectional. It is not from one science or one discipline. If I am learned from something, what does it take away for the other person? If this has happened, then the real IDR is taking place. Otherwise, as I said, it could be a cross-disciplinary or multidisciplinary. We work together and we disappear after the particular work. So this is known to you. Ecology is every subject is involved. Everything is required. Without this, all the subjects we cannot talk about. So this is another interdisciplinary research, traditional one known to us. So IDR is most productive and inspiring of human pursuit, and one provides a format for conversation and connection that leads to a new knowledge or new discipline. So you are able to see the cartoon picture. You can read it. I'll put one more. This is what we are talking about. What is multidisciplinary? Join together to work on a common problem. Once the problem is solved, we part. So there is no further work on that. Again, some other problem will take. We join together because of the compatible already made. So I'll discuss with you. We'll write some work and again this. Whereas the interdisciplinary, they won't disappear after the work. They work together, common question, common problem. The interaction will continue till a new domain is created or knowledges. So the best example today, most of the people are working on smart grids. The smart grids, what are the things they are going to work on that? One is the generation field, whether it is renewable energy or the energy via other form of electricity generated. When that problem can occur, all those things they are doing with the help of STL and other things. You have to look at that, not only the big data side, so the logic part, how it is able to solve this kind of problems, smart grid problems, how they are able to convert the differential equations into a logical statements. From logical statements, how they are able to deduce something and verifying back, is it the solution for the differential equations, whatever we quoted by so far theory. This kind of work is taking place in the Western world. So we look at these things. Earlier occasion, we are unable to predict the windmill, what could be the wind, what kind of wind electricity can be generated. Very recently, say 4 years before, there are 3 papers, they were able to predict up to 79% the wind prediction in a particular Great Lake area. So this all, you have to look at that, how they are able to do, what kind of application they taken at. So everything is a new domain and people are still working on that. It cannot be solved 100% accuracy, it is there. So the success story, as I said, very important for us. So the radar has developed by MIT Radar's laboratory. It is deployed during the Second World War. How the deployment taken place? The World War has not happened in one particular country. Throughout the world, it is happening. So 4,000 people were deployed to put the radar in variety of places, different continent, different personals, culturally different. They are able to communicate in order to ensure the success of deployment of radar. That is one of the things. So the same way, the cancer laboratories, today the cancer is not like yesterday, yes, we are afraid of cancer. Even we have a nice history. Yuvraj Singh, the cricketer, he also cancer survivor. He went for treatment, he came back, still he is alive, thank God. So it is possible today. There are 1 or 2 cases may not reach that level. However, the cancer research, is it one medical practitioner did, biochemist's involvement? So that is also possible. The other thing is Philips Electronics, known to us. Today we know they are into multi-domain. They started with the electrical bulb, the light bulb, they started the direction. Even today they are into lighting industry, but they are into variety of domains. So this all interdisciplinary. So if you look at that, now most of the people never started with one particular thing. It is not diversification in the same field, they extending it, electricals, electronics, whatnot, medical equipments. So many things you have. they are able to do such things nicely. So look at this picture, take a minute and read. It's some kind of research laboratory. They're asking, they need system analysis for doing some kind of designing part. So what is the meaning of that? So once you start with some discipline, beyond certain stage, you say whatever possible with my discipline, I have completed. In order to solve further, I need some other discipline. The first slide I asked you to read because of that reason only. That was a chemistry lab. I'll go back to that slide 3 slides ago. Okay, yes. This is, I'm on the verge of certain things. So my subject expertise has got over, the physics begins here. So further they need physicists. So that's how, when you're not starting the problem together, you will, certain point of time, you cannot proceed further. So obviously you need somebody's assistant, or you need some domain expertise to help you out to solve the problem. So that is a way. So when you know some problems are interdisciplinary, then you should not start the problem alone, start from the beginning. Then understanding of the problem is much easier, and you can decide, okay, this is the part I can solve with the help of my disciplines. And you will say, no, I can solve this with my strength. You can solve independently, then merge whichever is good. Then you see, if I combine both disciplines strength, will I solve better? Yes, obviously possible, then you can go for it. So that one has to work collectively from the beginning in order to get better results as well as the faster results. So this is what we have. IDR is concerned. What is the need of the hour? So here a lot of things we have to talk about that. If you look at this, academic institutions, do we have any interdisciplinary courses? Yes, there are certain courses, we call it as interdisciplinary. Being an autonomous institution, you may have something called as any open elective courses you have. Yeah, you may have something economics or history, liberal arts courses, something, but not just like that. Out of real interdisciplinary course, do you have anything? Just give a thought. Your answer may be no. Who has to do that? So in order to that interdisciplinary course, will I get anything? So suppose, for example, applications of optimization techniques in image processing. Can I think of a course like that? Answer is yes. So, but do we offer such course? Answer is no. Why? So for that, the institution supposed to create a new policy as well as some kind of increment or encouragement to the faculty who's involved in interdisciplinary courses, create as well as teach and do research. Especially in the master's level students, a lot of courses can be thought of doing for them. It is a real good thing at master's level, because we can leave certain portion as seminar they're supposed to do, and guide, as a faculty can guide them nicely, so that we get a good thing. So now, unless until government and regulatory bodies say something, we never go such things. Now UGC and AICT says some certain percentage of credits can be obtained from the MOOC courses. Then we are looking at some courses. Yes, we are saying this courses, MOOC courses were available long time ago. Why we did not introduce such things? So some specialized courses, we may not have a faculty. You identify certain things along with the students. We are also supposed to join and do that courses in order to do a better job. So what is a student's problem? We also understand. That is also, you can look at that. A lot of interdisciplinary courses are offered in edX as well as Coursera. I'm not canvassing any one of this. So there are just platforms I'm saying, other than NPTEL also. NPTEL is also good programs are there. You can look at that. So first is, you have to strengthen the policy. What is I have as a faculty by doing interdisciplinary course? So then when you talk about that, the policy, when you say I know some theoretical ideas. Can I implement this? Is it right thing? Because you are in GUDUR, so obviously you can approach Sriharikota, ISRO is there. You can do some innovative courses with national laboratories. So is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible. One has to demand. The simplest way is whether you believe it or not, there's a fact happened way back in 2000. National Aerospace Laboratories, NAL, Bangalore. Uh, I went and asked for a project for my students. They said, no, we have certain colleges we'll give you. I said, why? It is funded by taxpayers. How can you say if you have uh, strength, please call us, we will work out. Then they said, okay, we'll have an interview with our students. Finally, every year we started getting it. So today it is totally different way, no college, nothing. In October, November, the portal opens, you can apply. Who has real caliber will get it. So you have to knock the doors. The faculty is supposed to go knock the door. Then we started doing some projects with them also. It is possible, which is available next to you. You cannot go to a place like Vizag or Mumbai. If necessary, we can. Otherwise, we can. So that's what I said. IDR, you have to take from the industry, CSR labs, anybody you can tie up with them, offer 2 credit course or 1 credit course to start with. That is going to give us something. So in order to do that, the management has to support you by means of expenditures, whatnot. If small laboratory is supposed to be set up, they're supposed to come forward. So that is one of the things you look at that way. So by doing this way, as I said, only masters, if you have research program, involve scholars to create a nice course material, and as well as how many credits, whatever things, everything you can design upon that. So the last point also I said, the management is supposed to have a budgetary allotment for this kind of programs, then it can be done. This all from the academic institution. Academic institution involves all the 4 stakeholders. One is the management, faculty, students, and collaborative institutes. That is, could be industry or NGOs, whichever it is, depending on the discipline. So the same way, today, much advantageous time for us. Not, I'm talking about present scenario. The last 10 years, funding is much better than earlier years. So if you have a good project, DST is variety of schemes, ACT funding it, CSR funds, so many places funding agencies are available. All things are available to us. Unlike earlier years, we don't know when the notification comes. Because of the website, internet, all those things we are able to see by click of a button. So everything is available. The funding agencies also has some kind of things now very rigid depending on the project. They're supposed to allocate. So 25% of this year budget goes only for IDR projects. Then this will take much better way. So in that part, if you say one is funding agency is supposed to come forward to set up something and allot that kind of fund. Another thing, the academic institute is supposed to identify among the faculty members or an outsider who is really good at interdisciplinary research. They are identify a leader. That is his responsibility. That is his baby. He has to ensure that bringing a right kind of environment. That problem can be from the industry or from the government laboratories. Anywhere he has to go and get the problem, and if necessary, bring the people from the industry to train the set of the team members in order to see that the baby is grown, the IDR is grown in that right direction, and the result is yield after some time. So this is very important. So I said that funding agencies part also. Once the funding is given, we also have the review committee visits. I don't want to criticize the review committee visits. So most of the time, they give constructive criticism. Sometimes they'll write a remark which may not be known to us. So that should be modified. Then the evaluation of IDR is also going to be much better. How many of you heard about the portal called as sneeka.com? Any idea? Sneeka, SNEEKA, sneeka.com. I'll put that portal later for you. That has been funded by, if I'm not, yes, DST, 80 lakhs. The idea of that portal is to gather all the lecture notes of all many universities and institutes around the country. DST project, done by CDAC and IIITB. So this kind of projects also happen, but the utilization of that project is not much. So what happened? The project is developed well, penetration is not happened. Whom to blame? The creators or the funding agency? So all these questions are unanswered. Even I don't have an answer. You also, I cannot expect from you also. So this is another major area. After funding is done, we created some portal or some research work. Then later part, how do we know how to propagate to other institutes or similar group or group is there? So these are the black holes in our system. How to address it? It is open to all. So we have to decide how to do that. So when I set IDR, okay, then every discipline got certain set of journals where I can publish my work. IDR, yes, there are certain journals, especially Taylor and Francis got a lot of things. There are certain journals, if you look at that, the title may not be appropriate, looks like you have to read, identify the journals, or if there is a societies, professional societies for interdisciplinary research, then it is easy. They will have a journal and it should be a good way of doing that. So that is another way of looking at. As well as every journal has, suppose medical electronics, can I put some kind of theoretical work or framework of some electronical things? They should agree, certain percentage they have to agree upon that. So if it is there, the development of IDR is possible. So this is very important. Without this, we cannot do IDR because end result is everything is quantified. Nothing is called as unquantifiable today. So we need some number attached to each and everything. So how to do that? So for that, this setup is there. IDR would be penetrate much faster and easier way. So one has to look at how to create such things. Why not we can create a society of interdisciplinary research? So involve people who are into interdisciplinary research, create bylaws. Creating a society is easy. Sustainable is very tough. That is what toughest job. Just getting registered is easy. Just matter of 2 days or 3 days, you will get registered. Then you will get some members. What are the activities? Annual activities, you have to plan it. One has to spend time. I'll give a small break for 2 minutes. I need anybody has any questions to address that. Next is I'm going to talk about case study. Before that, I want to know any questions are there about IDR so far. Any questions, please? Professor Prasad?
Sir, no questions.
Okay.
But can you explain transdisciplinary research once again, sir?
Okay. Transdisciplinary research is universal one. Universal in the sense unified knowledge. So anything involved, everything I can put as transdisciplinary. It is the superset of all this interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, everything is put together. So the IDR is the topmost cell, entire topmost cell covered with something called as transdisciplinary research.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. Yeah, I'll go. So this is a case study I want to talk about performance measure. What is performance measure? So performance measure is we have to see the productivity. So the moment you talk about productivity is slightly different. Are we talking about I'm producing something, therefore my productivity is like this? So little more, is it efficient? So the efficiency is very important. Performance measure is efficiency. So we talk about efficiency today. To sustain in the market, you're supposed to operate in an efficient way. So that's how we have to look at that efficiency. This case study is another interdisciplinary performance of a bank. So it maybe fall into commerce or management. So what is that normally the commerce or management people do is they have certain ratio. Based on the ratio, they will say this banks are stable. We have RBI. In the RBI website, you can see all kinds of analysis of ratio analysis, all those things. In addition to that, what are we going to talk? They also suggested these are the models can be utilized to measure the performance. But not much work has happened. There are a couple of people one Jayaraman from RBI. Now he moved to Mumbai. Then there is Rajiv. Then there is one more person from IIT Roorkee. Then we are working on using this tool. So this all way we looked at that. So the other way is optimization techniques. So now optimization techniques, how we can measure the performance of a bank. So there is a lot of questions here to talk. Performance of a bank. So here, are we looking at homogeneous environment? Yes, homogeneous environment. Bank is an industry. That particular industry, which bank is performing. So when you say homogeneous environment, then immediately our interdisciplinary brain is supposed to ask, can I use to measure the same methodology to measure the branch efficiency? Yes, possible. So by doing so, by just declaring efficiency, what is our achieve? What we are going to achieve that? So how to reduce the inefficiency? Are we going to close down, or how we are going to tackle this? So this is one of the important thing. Little more, if you go in optimization techniques, when you solve any linear programming problem, we do something called as sensitivity analysis. The sensitivity analysis starts with whether the constraints are binding or unbinding, then why it is not binding, then what are the things we can do there. Look at that. Sometimes we say some slacks are present. So what is the meaning of slack? If you understood, in roughly speaking, without any scenario, open way, if I say slack is there are some unused resources are available. So with this only, we start with that, how to utilize the unused resources. So that is the general way of looking at LPP. So how we can do here. So what is an efficiency? The measure of efficiency is nothing but the ratio between output and inputs. So this is the way. So once you have this way, here the YIJs are the outputs, XIJs are input. There are M inputs and N outputs. I want to increase my efficiency. Therefore, I converted this as a maximization problem. Look at maximization problem, one objective function, then set of constraints we have, then non-negative restriction. We have like this. So a LPP is a single objective function problem with set of constraints and a non-negative restriction. This is the standard way of looking at any LPP. Now, we never come across neither constraints nor objective functions in a rational form. Here all are rational. So this was proposed by Johns, Cooper and Rode somewhere 1963. From where they came this model? In the production environment, we have something called as Farrell's efficiency. So this problem, the birthplace of this is from production engineering. They created this model. Then this cannot be solved in the usual sense by simplex method or whatever the method. Therefore, we have to convert this into a standard form. So what we have done, so now you go back to the previous, I'm going back to the previous slide. The objective function is the ratio. The ratio is always between 0 and 1. I want to maximize. If the denominator become 1, I'm done with. My objective is maximize, I have done with. So this is one of the ways you look at that way. So that we got it. So this, we are adding a constraint that equal to 1. This takes care of the convexity. So the optimization problems, if you look at that, the region supposed to be feasible, the convexity region only, the solutions are lies at the corner points or the boundary points. We talk about that. Then the constraints you cross multiply, bring it to left hand side, you'll get 1. I kept as it is. So we can solve this problem. Now, how to solve this scenario? So to look at that way, now we want to maximize. So numerator was output, denominator was input. There are some unknown quantities I put Uijs and Vijs. These are the weights to be determined by solving LPP. So when you say output by input, now we want to maximize this ratio. So how we can do? my input is fixed. I have to increase my output. So that is what we call it as output oriented way. Now the other way, look at that. I fix my output. This is my expectation. At any cost, you have to give me this output. Can I reduce my input? Instead of allotted input, I'm minimizing my inputs. So this is what called as input oriented model, output oriented. Then from the economics, we have something called as return to the scale. Elasticities, we talk in economics. So that if you take that variable return to scale and constant return to scale, decreasing scale, increasing scale, free disposable, all such models are available. But we, for this discussion, we take only VRS, variable return scale, and CRS return scale. There will be a frontier. Frontier is just a curve. If your thing is feasible or optimal, it's supposed to lie on the frontier curve. That frontier curve, if it is not there, it is not optimal. In our case, it is not efficient. So how to do that? So based on this, we can create 4 various models. One is input oriented variable return scale. Another one is input oriented constant return scale. Similarly for output, other 2. So these 2 models. So if you look at the literature of DEA, more than 30 DEA models are available. Just I'm talking about one stage DEA, network DEA models, fuzzy DEA models. So huge work. There is a website called as DEA Zone, DEAZONE. A beautiful website. Whatever works happening in the world, you can see there. Yearly 2 conferences are happening on this DEA one alone. So, and National Productivity Council of America also hosts annual conference. There also 20% papers on DEA only. So that much it has popularity and gained. Any industry, healthcare industry or whatever it is, it can be done. Now, just a small illustration how it can be converted. A chain of restaurant, the promoter want to verify the efficiency of each and every branch. So he might have decided the input and output. Okay. Here I have to say this is called as non-parametric model. In general, when you work with statistics, we need certain parameters. Once I know the parameters, I know the entire distribution. The simplest way is for normal distribution, if you give me mean and the variance, I can find out the entire distribution, how it looks like. So it is possible with respect to every distribution. And here, non-parametric, the sense, it makes a real good sense. Suppose you want to measure the coffee shop, your input and output may be different. As a promoter, I want to measure the performance. My input and output is different. So based on the actor, the same scenario, the input and output vary. Therefore, it is called as non-parametric one and more scientifically solved. Therefore, it is popular as well as gives better result than ratio analysis, better results than the regression models. So the regression models also it assumes the normal distribution models and everything. So which is not true in general. So therefore, this is far better than the regression analysis and other things. So here there are certain inputs. He might have taken number of employees, the location, and the area or number of customers coming out, coming to the shop every day, and the satisfaction level he might have measured. So now we have the DMU1, DMU2, this all branch 1, branch 2, branch 3. When you talk about this, most of us probably heard about this terms called as multi-criteria decision-making models. This is one of the MCDM techniques only. So you have these branches are called as decision-making units, which is doing better. So what is the corresponding LPP model? Because we have 3 DMUs, we'll get 3 LPP problems. With respect to, I'll assume that DMU1 is better because I'm going to measure the relative performance. It is not absolute performance, relative performance, keeping first branch as benchmarking. how other two are performing with respect to the first one. Similarly, do that way, we'll get 3 LPP. So the 3 LPPs are like this. If you look at this one, 9U1, 4U2 plus 16U3, that is what you have here. Then the outputs are 4U1 and 16U2. That is we have here. So take left side and bring it to the right side back, the denominator. So you will get less than or equal to 0. On solving it, you will get some solution values for UIs and VIs. The maximum value, if it is 1, we call efficient, otherwise inefficient. The moment you say inefficient, what we have to do, how to find out, go back to the model, identify the slacks. Then here, related to that, what peers also we can identify, not only these two, who is performing better, then you can take a linear combination of these two, modify accordingly, ensure that the other branch is also performing well. It is not just throwing the results. One has to study, can I make this as benchmark? Suppose say DM1 is the really good one, other two are not performing, can I do it? Okay. This looks like very easy. One important part is, if this models to work, the number of DMUs must be at least 3 times of number of inputs plus number of outputs. So here for a model, just I put only just 3. Otherwise, this may not give you the exact result. In order to that, there is a result proved, a mathematical way one can look at that. So this is the background. Now, the simplest example I can tell you, suppose you want to admit your children into a school. What is your parameters? What is your input? What is your output? It differs from myself or differ from your friend. I want to say, okay, this is the place, a Little Angel School is the best school, I'll put her, or I'll go to a Good Shepherd School, like that. Why you are selecting it? The transport is coming to next door, next to my home, and my neighbor children is studying some parameter, you will say, other will say, this is CBSE pattern, therefore I want to put my child, like that. So the parameter varies, everybody's individual nature, you can study as per your input and output. So this is the best tool as per my knowledge. So there is something called as AHP, analytical hierarchy process, TOPSIS, electric, vigor, all are multi-criteria. Everything has its own drawbacks, and this is much easier, and one can look at solve our own problems. So this case study, we consider 27 public sector banks before the merger of banks. So the inputs are cash in hand, money at call and short notice, advances in India as well as abroad. Then investments in India, that's what I said. Outputs are interest income, business per employee. So this is the inputs and other things. So this we have taken 27 public sector banks are available here. So there are certain banks withdrawn, merged with, now 12 banks are available. One can look at this. So once you do, how many banks you are going to get? 27 banks. So the number of inputs and outputs, if you take that, add, is obviously more than that. Therefore, this is going to give a good result. So when you do analysis, so there are a variety of tools I can apply. We used R, the open source statistical package R. There is a particular package. Here R is also nice tool. There is a package called as benchmarking. We used benchmarking to identify, look at this, there are 2 efficiency, as I said, VRS, so CRS efficiency, so 1, 1, 1, 1, most of the things are done. Corporation Bank has slipped down, Dena Bank has slipped down, so the same way IOB, then this side, State Bank of Trivandrum, is not done with respect to this parameter. This is one parameter, not the total parameter. When you look at that, say that Allahabad Bank is leading 1. When you go for constant and scale, efficiency is 0.95, it has slipped down by this, whereas other banks are done better way. So you look at this way, one can identify this also. So this is a case study for you people. So in your department, how I am performing. Yeah, whenever I work in a department, I will be asking this question. Probably now I'm not asking. The younger days, we used to have own criticism and all those things. For the positive side, we discuss openly. That's how I'm able to do good work because of my colleagues than they'll say, sir, it is good for you. It's full of mathematics. Why can't you look into it? So when I associated with computer science, so I done a lot of work like that only. All helps done by motivated by my colleagues. They say computer graphics full of mathematics. So why can't you look into it? So I learned subjects because of them. So some inputs are given. This input not necessarily the same. You can decide a parameter. You know your colleagues' data because today ACT mandatory. What you've done the last year, I can put forth. If the management decided to create a scientific way to give you increment or promotion, they can look at this as you can create this one and a tool and give to your management. So it is good for if everyone agree upon that you'll have. So some some inputs are given, number of credit hours taken, and number of activities or community service done, number of MTPs or FTPs attended or conducted, whatever you want to take as. So input, most of the institutes are working on past percentage. I may not agree upon that, but what is the order of the day? I'm quoted it. Number of papers you written, number of conference you organized, number of MDPs or FDPs you conducted. Then based on this, you can come out, create an LPP model, solve it. Anyone has data. If you are finding difficulty, let me know. I can help you out. Okay, so I'm open for questions. Varprasad, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request the participants to post your questions in the chat box so that sir can able to answer. The participants are informed to post your questions in the chat box. If any questions are there, please post your questions in the chat box. So let me take an opportunity to share my vote of thanks about this webinar. So first of all, I would like to thank today's resource person, Dr. K. Venkatesh sir. Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, please.
Actually, one guy asked one question, sir.
Yeah.
How do we get clear picture of this course?
Which course? DEA?
Probably maybe interdisciplinary research, I think.
Okay. There are 2 books are available. Anyway, I'll be sending you the PPTs to you, okay. Where I mentioned the references. One is called as Interdisciplinary Research Concepts and the Model Theory and Concepts by, I have to see that book. I'll get back to you on that. I have that reference books with me. I'll give you that details. Okay. See, interdisciplinary research, you cannot go as a course. It has to be created by you based on the person's subject and his interest from the other discipline. Now, from mathematics to finance, how did I go the same way? Then when you do that way, there are certain courses called as quantitative finance. There is one interdisciplinary course which is missing in our disciplines. So when you talk about numerical methods, we have in the mathematics discipline taught by mathematics discipline people. When we go there, we talk about only mathematics. We won't talk about the how many counts are taking place by the computer clocks and other things we won't talk about. So that's what the interdisciplinary research, when you join together as a co-faculty, then you say, this is a problem from electrical science or electronics I'm going to solve using numerical methods. So then create a material around that. The entire course numerical methods or whatever the course you say, X course, which is applicable to my domain. Base you borrow from mathematics. So just, I'm a mathematician, I'm talking from mathematics course. Then create a new things around it. It is not necessarily new course is going to born. It is a confluence of 2 or more discipline. That's all I can say.
Thank you, sir. Is there any questions? Okay, okay, sir. So,
Okay, thank
sir,
you.
I thank you for accepting our request to share your valuable experiences and ideology about research for the sake of the present community of research. So, sir, you gave a lucid explanation about the difference between interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary research, and also you gave a thought-provoking uh, information about research, and you left a lot of challenges to the present-day researchers, and you also gave a lot of advices to the faculty community and what are the roles and responsibilities of faculty towards research as well as development of the student community. And you gave a lot of information about the funding agencies, how to get the funding and different aspects towards the funding in order to carry out the research work, because the people knows without funding it is very difficult to carry out the research. And you also gave some valuable advices to the autonomous institutes to take over some of the interdisciplinary courses and decisions towards interdisciplinary courses in order to facilitate or give the priorities to the interdisciplinary courses in order to for the purpose of the student community. So I thank you very much, sir. And I thank the chairman, Dr. Vanki Penchalayat, sir, for his constant support to organize this kind of webinars for the sake of students as well as faculty community. And I also thank the young and dynamic director, Dr. A. Mohan, sir, who has given excellent support in terms of technical and non-technical to organize this kind of events by inviting the people, the eminent people like you. And last but not least, I also thank all the faculty and students who have been a part of this webinar. And I hope all the participants have enriched their knowledge from the source lecture. I thank you all once again. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all the participants for listening to me. Anything you can reach me through mail, through Varprasad. I'll be sending my PPT to him. Thanks once again.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.